Sunshine Wildlands, it's Bernadette. I am here with your Pick a Card Daily Tarot reading for Thursday, October 15th, 2020. Ho, ho, ho! Where do you see who's shown up for you? Remember, Thursdays are the heart chakra days. Its ruling planet is Jupiter. Let's get her done. Let's go. Let's move. And who has shown up? The Condor as the King of Swords. Look at that guy. That guy just says, you know what? If you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself, which is not always true. But he wanted to be in the art deck so bad you can't even know how many Condor pictures that I looked at. And finally, he surfaced one day, and he was like, "Me, it's gonna be me." And I was like, "Yes, sir, I'll do it, sir." And so it has been. So let's go ahead and get into the reading. And let's take a look at the traditional Rider-Waite tarot card, because that, for those of you just joining us, I read with my own award-winning Arcanimal Tarot and Oracle deck. The tarot cards are based on the Rider-Waite system, and then it infuses all of the magic and the mystery of the animal allies. Just gives it that extra oomph, extra power. And my gosh, the readings that you can do for yourself and for others, and the healings with this deck, they are becoming legendary. No joke, you guys. So if you don't have your deck yet, pick it up. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel so you be sure to get your daily readings every day. And so here we go. Let's jump in there. So when the King of Swords shows up, especially on a Thursday, which is the go, get her done day, it is about action without emotion. And what that means is, even though the heart chakra does rule Thursdays, you don't have to have emotion attached to what you're doing today, because your heart can also mean the will to do something, and that doesn't necessarily have to be attached to emotion. So you know those days when you're just like, I just got to put my head down, I got to put my nose to the grindstone, I got to get it done. It's one of those days, and the King of Swords is going to help you through that. Now, we can often, we can often get derailed by other people's stories, or even our own stories, or our own, emotional outbursts or emotional needs or whatever. Today is not that day. If you notice, the King of Swords is sitting on a granite throne, and that shows immobility. And what that means is, you're not moving this guy. He's not going to be swayed by the stories. He's not going to be inflamed by the oh my God stories. He doesn't have time for excuses, and you don't have time for that either. And you don't have time to suffer fools, and he doesn't have time to suffer fools. And some people may think that's harsh, but sometimes when really big things or serious things need to get done, you need that energy around, instead of everybody, oh my God, the sky is falling, running around in a big old panic and a mess. Don't do that. You're not going to be that person today. Now, just because you can't move him, that doesn't mean that he can't move himself. And when he wants to move, he'll move when he's good and darn ready. Here's why. This guy is a very wise ruler. He's got the energy of Gemini around him, which means that he considers both sides of a story. And once he's made his consideration, once he has gathered the facts and he has weighed them and measured them, then he will move. Now, once he moves, that's the Taurus energy. He won't even move himself. If there's another move that needs to be made, once he's on his trajectory, that old boy's on his trajectory. Now, when you take a look at the carving in the back of the throne, that's very intense intellectual activity. The winged sylphs, they're element spirits of the air. They're never at rest. And then you've got the butterflies above them. This guy's mind is always in motion, always in motion, always in motion, always in motion. And it's transformed him spiritually. So this isn't just a card about physical action in this reality. This is about all of the things that move us forward spiritually as well. And you may find that today's card doesn't have anything to do with you actually taking physical action. It may be about taking just intellectual action. And what that means is this. Maybe you've got a class you want to teach, and you've just been like, oh, I don't, God, putting it together, the courses, the this, the that, Today might be the day to sit and work through this. Maybe you've got a paper that's due. Maybe you've got an assignment at work that's due. Who knows? It could be a million different things. And so it may not necessarily mean physical activity. It just may mean intellectual activity. And today is a fantastic day to do that. So when, when you consider the kind of severity that the King of Swords shows you, he's not a shoot first, ask questions later kind of guy. He's not. Again, I want to go back to say he considers all sides of the story and then he makes his decision. And there's no time limit on how long it will take you, or should not take you, to make that decision. And when you take a look at how quote unquote severe that his tough love is like, because he really kind of is the king of tough love, also being the King of Swords. If you consider, remember Joe Clark, the famous principal who got his inner city school under control? It was a movie with Morgan Freeman. The name is escaping me. And oh my gosh, did that man come under fire, because he personally patrolled his hallways with what? A bullhorn and a baseball bat. And people were like, oh my God, my children, my children. But he got that school under control, didn't he? And all kinds of hinky, heinous things that were going on there, they stopped, didn't they? And so it can be, it can be the tough love kind of thing. But do you want to show a little tough love, even if it's to yourself? You may be having to patrol yourself with a bullhorn and a ball bat, in your own way, to get, to get your mind going, to get you moving forward, to make those decisions and cut through the rhetoric and cut through the nonsense and get to where you need to be. So remember, he's in a purple cloak, which symbolizes wisdom, right? That's why I went and got my purple tunic that I wear sometimes when I go to Ren festivals, because I'm a Ren festival crazy nut. If there's anyone within a 300-mile radius, I'm there looking at the dulcimers. So the blue robe also symbolizes divine love. The crown is yellow. He's being guided by spiritual principles and the sun energy. But also the storm clouds behind him are calming down. So whatever storms might have been brewing, the King of Swords will be by your side. He will drag you out of the worst of the mess, even if he's got to drag you out kicking and screaming. He's going to save you. Now, he's not going to baby coddle you. He's not going to, little known fact about Bernadette, I went through volunteer fire college as a kid. And I'll never forget this. My partner, an older male, well, everybody was older than me at that point. I was only 16. We got to the part where they tape up your mask and they put a 65-pound, 80-pound PDA on you, a personal breathing apparatus, and they smoke out the college, and you've got to crawl on your hands and knees for like 6 floors. And they've got people screaming, my baby, save my baby. They're clanging garbage cans. They're jumping up and down. I mean, they're doing everything they can to freak you out. Well, my partner, I was a 16-year-old little girl, and my big old, manly man partner, he freaked, man. He couldn't take it. He got claustrophobic. He freaked out at the screams, the clangs, and he came up out of there, and they asked me if I wanted to continue, and I hesitated for 1 minute, and I'll never, ever forget my mom's voice. Now, she had already gone through, we went through fire college together. Crazy story. And there was an arsonist in our neighborhood. And it sounds like I'm digressing, but I'm not. I'm going to get to the point. But all I could hear in my mom's head was, Bernadette, you made a commitment, and you're going to follow through with that commitment. Unless it's killing you, like literally physically killing you, you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you do this, because no one else is going to do it for you. And I said, no, sir, I'm going through. And I finished the rest of those 3 floors by myself. So, I mean, I wasn't really by myself. If anything had ever happened, they'd have drugged me out of there. But I drugged myself kicking and screaming through that. And it taught me a lot of lessons that still hold true today, 90,000 years later at 54 years old. So today is all about you facing you. It's all about you being this guy and saying, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. Stomp, 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 stomp. And just put your nose to the grindstone and get it done. Because on the other side of that, I'm telling y'all, anytime in life or in business I've had something really hard to accomplish, or do or get through, I think back to that time at fire college, and I hear those clangs of those tins, and I hear the screams of the guys, and I can feel the vibration of them jumping up and down on top of the wood that, you know, you had to crawl through, because they only gave you this. I mean, basically you had to shimmy through everything, me and my chunky behind, wearing that PBA. That was a lot of fun. But I think of that and I think, you know what, nothing will ever be harder than that. I mean, in a for real burning building, it was smoking. They smoked it, but they didn't put it on fire or anything like they do when you go to real fire college. So today is that day. Moving on. It is, the condor is, man, my enduring love of buzzards and condors. I just know I've spent so many lifetimes in the Andean mountains and the Peru and the Himalayas. There is just something about them. And to the Peruvians, the condor is their bird that is the same kind of thing as the Native American thunderbird, which is about freedom. It is about breaking free. It is about getting rid of anything that's been confining you, even yourself. Condors have a 9-foot wingspan. 9 feet, y'all. Do you know how big that is? Think of it. Like, measure something in your house 9 feet, and then think of standing in front of that. I mean, essentially, you're looking at a pterodactyl. They're just amazing birds. And they're natural watchers. They're very ancient creatures. They, they're thought of in the Amazon as teachers. They call us to ecological, honor-bound responsibility. They're part of the recycling efforts because they clean up the remains that are left behind by other creatures. And it's about the air element. Now, why would Condor want to be the king of swords? What does that have to do with anything, right? Okay. Well, in particular today, with the heart chakra being part of today, and in particular with the remembrance that the king of swords acts out of love for his people, and his people also being himself. So when you talk about a creature that is willing to do the cleanup work, much like the King of Swords will do, remember, he will come in and drag you out of the maelstrom of the melee, kicking and screaming, but he's going to drag you out. Well, condors, like buzzards, they do the cleanup work. That's not a glorious job, but they do it. They do it, and they do a great job of it. And everything that teaches us is that sometimes we're going to have to do the cleanup work. Sometimes we're going to have to do things that we don't like to do. Can you hear your mom and dad saying that? Well, sometimes we just have to do things that we don't like. Ooh, I used to hate it when my mom said that to me. I hate it still when I hate it when I say it to myself. But I say it to myself and I say it to clients because sometimes you do. But see, y'all, there's the trick. There is the trick. When you're a condor, when you've got a wingspan of 9 feet, you can soar anywhere you want to go. And so you can choose to see, this is gross cleanup work, or you can choose to see the bigger picture, the bigger accomplishment, the bigger effort, the bigger story, the bigger love that this is going to serve. You can choose to see that. And then, yes, you still will need to put your nose to the grindstone. And yes, you still may not love what you're going to do. And yes, there is a call for you to just get it done without emotion. But that doesn't mean that intellectually you can't make things easier for yourself by using that air element to get above it, to see above everything, to see what the bigger picture is, and to serve that bigger picture if that's what you choose to do. Because you got to remember, all birds, but the higher they fly, the more they have to contend with air currents and just all kinds of things. They've mastered the winds. They've mastered that wind energy, and you can too. You absolutely can. You just sit in quiet for a minute, maybe look at some videos of condors, maybe read some things about condor, and then just imagine when you're there, when you're in that zone, you'll start to feel that wind on your face, and you'll start to want to sit more upright, especially if you're channeling the King of Swords and the Condor at the same time. And you're going to feel like you're getting ready to do something big and important, because you are. and you're calling all of their magic into you. You're calling all of their medicine into you, and you're uniting your own spirit with that part of yourself that is Condor. And when it's time for you to spread your wings, you've got it. You can do it. And it, I that's it. You've got it. You can do it. You've just got to be willing to be the king. You've got to be willing to be the Condor. You've got to be willing to do it and then commit to it, and it's done. It's just done. So, if Condor has shown today as your spirit animal, you know, it's the same old that I just said earlier. It's time to spread your wings and soar. If you are, you know, if Condor is your totem animal, God love you, you have no problem cleaning up the mess that others make, and you're very efficient at it. You leave the footprint, you know, you leave the place better than you found it. You are a serious gift to this world. If you are wanting to invoke Condor as your power animal, then you're looking for answers from heaven. And weigh those answers that you get. Please weigh both sides of a situation like the King of Swords does. And when you commit, really be sure what you're committing to, because once you do commit, it takes a long time to ride down from those winds that you'll be flying. It takes a long time to shake that Taurus energy of the King of Swords. So I hope this has been helpful. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Pick up your copy of the Archanimal Tarot and Oracle deck. And as always, stay wild.